Lonely Monk Productions. Yo, That's My Jawn is brought to you by Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Take a seat. Let me explain. It's free. It costs nothing. $0 and 0 cents. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Me? I'm doing this from my iPad. It's that simple. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more podcast providers. What's that mean? That means when someone says, hey, how do I find your podcast? You go, you ever hear of a little app called Spotify? Boom, it's there. What's that in your hand, an iPhone? Boom, go to your podcast app. I'm there. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Right from the beginning, straight out the gate, you can make money. Season 1 made me so much money, I could afford a cup of coffee at Starbucks. A grande. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. That's Anchor.fm. I don't know if y'all have heard Love from Philly by G Love and Chuck Treece, but yo! That's my Jawn! Hey yo, displace the guilt and... What's good, friends and family, neighbors near and far? Welcome to another episode of the second season of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast. The podcast, website, brand, movement, way of life dedicated to the embrace and championing of your passions. I am your host, Nate Runkle, a.k.a. John Stamos, a.k.a. Dr. Jawn, a.k.a. Jawn with the Wind, a.k.a. Johnny Catane, rest in peace, a.k.a. I'm John Burgundy, and you stay classy, Philadelphia, a.k.a. Nate 3.0, checking in for yet another podcast. As always, I hope this podcast finds you all in good health and in good spirits. Happy Monday, people, unless... of course, I missed a deadline and you're not hearing this on Monday, which, I mean, man, how prescient would that be? Am I right? Am I right? All right, you got me. I missed my deadline and this episode's coming to you late. And for that, I apologize. I'm sorry. But what I want to do this week is revisit the first 10 guests of the podcast and, more specifically, their answers from the top 10 countdown, like a best of. But before I do, let me update you on my answer for question number 4. What was your last concert? Because, guys, I went to a live show. This past Friday, Katie and I went to see G Love and Chuck Treece perform at the Ardmore Music Hall for a sold-out limited capacity show, and it was incredible. Tables were properly spaced with guests kept 2 to a table, and you had to remain in your seat and wear your mask, but god damn it was worth it. From the second G and Chuck took the stage, it was like a euphoric moment of, oh my God, we did it. We made it through. We survived. And here's our prize. And I'm not going to lie to you, your boy got a little misty. The show was a short one, a little over an hour due to 2 separate performances that night, but it was fucking awesome. He played some tracks off the new album, played some new Johns from an upcoming album he and Chuck cut during the pandemic, and, of course, he dropped some of them old familiar favorites. The new stuff they played is super Philly, and both tracks had multiple shout-outs to Philly legends, including former guest Ben Arnold and a future guest that I'm still keeping a little secret to myself. And as no show would be complete without some kind of drunken ruckus, in typical Philly fashion, we watched a couple get dragged out by the bouncers for not following the very simple guideline of stay in your fucking seat. You heard me, a couple. Not just the guy, not just the girl, both of them kicked all the way the fuck out. It felt like home. If you'd like to see G and Chuck perform the song She's the Rock from G's Grammy-nominated album The Juice in its entirety, head on over to our YouTube channel and you can check that out right now. And be on the lookout for Mississippi, Philadelphia, coming soon from G Love and Chuck Treece, featuring my new favorite song, Love from Philly, which, in my eyes, is a certifiable banger. So, the top 10 countdown, a staple of the Jauntlet and one of my favorite parts of the show. When I was creating the idea of this podcast, I wanted to have a segment where I ask every guest the same thing to better understand who they are and to see what variety of answers I might get. Sort of like my own Bernard Pivot, James Lipton type thing. And honestly, I've gotten way better answers than I ever imagined I would have when I thought of this segment. Originally, I had planned this makeshift best of to be the season finale of season 1. You remember, episode 8, the one I kept talking about that you never got. Yeah, I procrastinated. You all know that. I'm an unreliable host. Hell, you're even getting this one late right now. But this past week, due to a scheduling conflict, the episode I had planned for you had to get pushed back, so I thought, hey, how about you take the time, do that thing you never did previously that you always wanted to do. So, here we are. Better Nate than never, I always say. The first question of the top 10 countdown is, what was your first Jawn? I like this one a lot because one of my favorite things about the show is getting to know what my guests were like as little kids and what they were into before they formed any kind of identity that was truly their own. It's like the seed to me, the place where it all began. So, before I spend a little time talking about each of the people who have done me the favor of sitting down and talking to me, I wanted to kick things off by playing every guest's answer to this one in order of appearance. I'm not going to do this for all the questions, but being the kicker, I thought it apropos. So, here is question numero uno. Ladies and gentlemen, our very first top 10. Here we go. Randy, are you ready?
No.
Number 1, what was your first Jawn? What was the first thing you can remember as a kid that you became like methodically obsessed with?
Transformers.
Transformers. I love it. I love it.
No doubt. No doubt.
All right. What was your first Jawn? What was the first thing that you were just ridiculously obsessed with?
Obsessed with? Like probably Oasis. You know, I just was like, that's what I want to do.
That's amazing. You know, I still to this day listen to that Oasis Unplugged performance, mostly because I'm an enormous Noel Gallagher fan, and to hear actually him sing those songs as opposed to Liam is something.
I actually, when that aired, I hit record on the VHS and the tape deck. I hooked the tape deck up to the TV so I could tape the audio and the video of that performance.
I love it. Headphone, Walkman, walking around with the Walkman, vibing to the Unplugged. I love it. Here is the top 10 countdown.
Oh shoot!
Here we go.
Okay.
What was your first Jawn? What was the first thing that like really just grabbed you? It can be anything. Doesn't have to be music. Could be music. Could be a song. Just what was the first thing that really hit you in your face?
The first thing that hit me really, really hard that I couldn't stop listening to was this band called Sunny Day Real Estate. And the album was How It Feels to Be Something On. That album is like my favorite album of all time, type of like best band, oh my gosh, like I saw him live and I'm gonna cry about it type of thing. And I get emotional about music, but that guy, like, it takes the cake. So yeah. How It Feels to Be Something On.
All right. Number 2, what was the first thing you found yourself obsessed about as a kid?
Probably, I don't know. There could be shit I'm forgetting, but I feel like when I really was like locked into something, it was The Cure. Like I was like, yo, because I mean, by then it was, they had so many, you look at their catalog, up until 89 when Disintegration came out, and like all the stuff before that is so different. So it was like, you really could get lost in so much, there's so many moods and so many, whatever, that was because I was young too. So, and it wasn't just, oh, I'm depressed, I listen to The Cure, what I mean? It was like, they're way more, dynamic than that. Like that's such a cliche. So, I think that was probably my first, that's kind of what started it all for me for music. So,
yeah. All right. What was the first thing you found yourself?
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Yeah.
That's my Jawn.
That was all right. All right.
Yeah. I was 5 years old. My dad had headphones on my head, introducing that to me.
Oh my God. That's
with the
awesome.
record album. So I had, had the lyrics and shit. I was like, what is this? And that's my first song.
Oh, that's amazing. And what was your first Jawn? What was the first thing you found yourself obsessed with? Musical or anything?
Top 10 Jawn, first thing obsessed with. It's got to be drums. It's got to be. It's got to be. Yeah. Once I got into it, it was drums all the time. And God bless my parents for putting up with that. That's not an easy thing.
Brother, I think about how loud and bad we were in your basement, in your room, all those years, and they just took it, man.
I know, never complained, never. There might have been once. It was after like 4 hours. They were like, "All right, enough."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's drums. Yeah,
much respect. Number one, first Jawn.
First Jawn, I think Batman was the first thing that really got my attention. You know, in Batman, there was everything. There was costumes, there was drama, there was music, Nelson Riddle theme song, there was violence. It was all there, man. Batman.
Yeah, that show's incredible. That show and the Monkeys that was on at the same time are like two shows that I can literally put on right now, and I feel like it can go toe to toe with any show that's on TV right now. Like those two shows from the same era are absolutely brilliant. Good answer. Number one, what was your first Jawn? What was the first thing you remember being obsessed with when you were young?
I think the first record I got obsessed with, honestly, was Venus and Mars, Paul McCartney and Wings, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Elton John, and because I kind of talked about this earlier, but it's true. These were like, I remember when I was like 8 or 9. You know, the getting these, my brother getting these records, and you got to play them again. And the last one was not the Who's Tommy, but Tommy as played by the London Symphony Orchestra.
Wow.
With all these like guests and stuff. So it was like kind of like a Broadway version of Tommy before there was a Broadway version of Tommy. That Pete Townsend, he's no dummy. He knew how to diversify. But you know, I'd say like, you know, I mean, as far as any kind of like modern rock stuff is concerned, I would say, you know, it was definitely that kind of thing. I was pretty into that stuff. I always liked guys that could play piano too. So I saw Paul actually playing piano. I didn't realize he was a piano player too. Who knew that he played everything? I just thought he was like the guy in Wings. I knew he came from that band, the Beatles, because this was all over by then, you know?
Yeah.
You know what? So Sgt. Pepper's got to go in there too. So yeah, Sgt. Pepper. I just, you know, not good, yeah. Now I'm gonna say Sgt. Pepper was because it was just the record cover, you know.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, this is cool. It's got a lot of stuff on it. You know, after that, it went into like Kiss Alive, you know. So, you know, my taste got a little hinky for a while there. So until I found New Wave. Okay.
All right. What was your first Jawn? What was the first thing you remember being obsessed with?
Yeah, probably the Monkees. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go with that.
Bookending. Yeah. I like it. Number 2. What was your first Jawn? What was the first thing when you were younger that you were obsessed with?
I'll keep it in the realm of music, and I'll say that my first obsession was buying 45s,
Very
7
nice.
records, because that's how I kind of, you know, when I first started making allowance. You know, I would buy 45s, and eventually I made my way up to purchasing my first 12-inch K-Tel album in which
Very cool.
For the young ones or the younger ones, that's kind of like the 70s version of now that's what I call music.
right.
Compilations. But yeah, I mean, my first obsession was obtaining music. Yeah.
Awesome. For the second question, what is your current Jawn? I actually have 2 here for you. The first one you'll hear is Chiemena Ukazim, who was our 3rd guest on the show. Chem's episode is one of my favorite episodes I've done to date. He was one of the first people I thought of getting on the show, as I knew he had a really interesting story, and I wanted to dig in and get to ask the kinds of questions that don't normally come up naturally in conversation. The second clip is from the 5th episode, and it's my good buddy Scott Miller. I am beyond proud watching the success Scott has had behind the drums, so to be able to get him on the show and go over his career to date was a gift. Let's take a listen to those right now. All right. Number 2, what is your current Jawn? What are you vibing right now? Can be anything.
Yes. So what I've been doing, I didn't get to mention it before, but I've been playing guitar so much that my body's been starting to kind of form different like chronic habits. I didn't know my elbow problems are from guitar playing and sitting like just so for hours. I went to the chiropractor and he popped both my shoulders back into place, and we're retraining them how to be in socket. And I didn't know they've been out of socket for years, maybe. So my current thing, I've been trying to listen to a lot of music, but I won't go too far into it. But my current thing is playing scales in groups of 5, playing a scale on 2 different strings at the same time, kind of overlapping.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm like obsessed with this idea. It's from Kurt Rosenwinkel, is this jazzer, and on this song called Minor Blues. That's my thing right now. The solo he takes on Minor Blues, he does this thing where he's doing that groups of 5 rapidly, and it's just a way I've never thought about the guitar before, and it's delicious. I mean, it stumps me too.
That is awesome.
You're drawing me out, dude. You're drawing me out. I've been collecting some Star Wars Legos. Now, this isn't like new Jawn, but it's definitely a current Jawn. I'm totally loving Star Wars Legos right now. They're super cool, man. Super cool.
What's your current build? What are you working on right now?
Right now, I just finished the Mos Eisley Cantina that was released. And right now I'm building a Yoda statue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got some on the sidelines that I'm waiting. You know, you can't just, go out and buy something and build it. You have to have stuff to build for a rainy day.
I understand.
But, yeah.
For those listening and even those watching, you don't see any of it, but Scott's Lego builds are ridiculous. He's got so many goddamn Star Wars Legos. It's a thing. It's definitely his current job. Like, I will back it.
Yeah, they're in the room that I'm in right now. In cases, and there's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah, you do it a lot. You do it big. Hands down, my favorite answer to the third question of the countdown, what was your first concert, came from my most recent interview with John Faye. John's music has been in my orbit for a great portion of my life, so I am forever grateful that he agreed to come on the show. Even more so after hearing this answer. Number 3, what was your first concert?
That would have been the Police with the Go-Go's as the opening act.
Very awesome.
In 1982.
Okay. Where at?
Philadelphia Spectrum.
Very nice. That must have been a great show.
It was obviously life-altering. Actually, I have to amend that. That's my first rock concert.
Okay.
I've been to a live show the year before, I believe. And that was, I was in Hawaii with my mother visiting my sister who was living there at the time. And my sister got me in as a minor to see Don Ho.
Very cool. Very cool.
Drunk. He was hammered. And it's just such a hilarious memory because I'm like 13 or something. And I'm at this place called the Polynesian Palace in Honolulu. And I remembered that, I don't know if you ever watched the Brady Bunch growing up at all.
Religiously, yeah.
Okay, so in the Hawaii episode, Don Ho makes a cameo.
Yeah.
And he says to Bobby and Cindy, "Oh, you can catch me and Sam here playing at the Polynesian Palace." Da, da, da. So, years later, so that's early 70s, now early 80s, I'm seeing Don Ho at the Polynesian Palace. He's been there the whole time. So it's no wonder he's hammered. So he gets on stage and he's like, telling like really dirty jokes. And I'm just like laughing and my sister's blushing and, and like the whole audience is like these old ladies basically. And he's like, "Hey, I want a couple of you come up on stage and we'll do, just sing this one with me." And I remember this like it was yesterday. He's like, "Okay, put your hands in my front pockets and clap 20 times.
Whoa. Yo, Don Ho.
You couldn't get away with that now, but
No.
1980, whatever. As a 13-year-old, I'm like, oh man, this is the greatest night of my life, right?
That's awesome.
You could buy the Don Ho tiny bubble doll. It was like a thing of bubbles, soap bubbles. You unscrew his head, and it has like one of those little blower things on it. You could blow bubbles with.
Excellent. Excellent. Perfect branding.
So that was actually my first live performance, but the Police was the first rock concert.
Okay. This show might not have ever happened if not for the guidance of my seventh guest, DX Ferris. It's why I added him to the thank yous this season. When I was just kind of spitballing some ideas of what I wanted to do, he helped me to better visualize what I wanted to achieve, and he gave me some tips on how to obtain it. I can't thank him enough for that and for being on the show. Here he is with an incredibly descriptive answer to the third question of the Top 10 Countdown. What was the last concert you were at? Number 4, what was the last concert you were at?
Last concert I went to, I saw the Misfits reunion in Chicago at Riot Fest with 40,000 people in a general admission setting, watching this historic concert take place at night under an almost full orange moon.
Wow.
With everybody going crazy, and it was this insane platonic ideal of everything I ever wanted from a concert. Everybody there screaming every single word, combined with a Game of Thrones battlefield type experience. I was in roughly the equivalent of the fifth row, and it was just a physical and mental and historic and all encompassing. Everything I ever wanted at a concert and normally did not get from a concert. And I kind of retired from concerts after that. Now, since then, I went to see Kristen Hirsch from Throwing Muses. I went to see her playing an acoustic set in a church. I felt that was worth making an excuse for.
Yeah.
And it wasn't religious music. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But she was playing little small thing, and I got to sit on a couch 2 feet away from her and just watch her play. Cool. I'll make an exception for that. And I took my younger kid to see the 1975, but that doesn't really count.
All right. My episode with Bill Schmids is another example of someone who I've always had killer conversations with, but through the podcast was able to learn so much more than I knew prior to sitting down with him. And his answer for the next one, favorite concert, is so awesomely Philadelphia that I would be a fool to not include it here.
1993, Tower Power at the Chestnut Cabaret. No opening act. The Philadelphia Phillies were the Sweethearts, and we're playing the Atlanta Braves in the National League Championship, and it was game 6 or 7 that they closed out that night. So if you've never been there before, you walked into the cabaret, it was a big floor, several bars, but there was probably a 20 or 24-inch television. There was one every 2 feet that just went around the entire place. So no matter where you were, you had a television right there. And everybody is there watching the game. Had a great time. Phillies are winning. They're going up early. They're beating the Braves. It's such a great series. And at 8 o'clock, the Tower Power comes on, and they shut the televisions off. It's 7th inning. So Tower plays for about maybe 45, maybe half hour, 40 minutes. It's cooking. And by that point, everyone's socially lubricated. We're having a great time. It's funky. It sounds great. And then the band stopped and said, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna cause a little pause here. And Philadelphia, this is what you've been looking for. And they brought the big screen with the projector down behind them, and we watched the 9th inning.
Oh, my God.
And we watched Mitch Williams close it out, and the place lifted off rail. I got goosebumps thinking about it. It was the best concert I've ever been to. And then it came on and played for 3 hours.
Oh,
and it was
amazing.
It was, and that was the time where you go to the Chestnut Cabaret. If you were lucky enough to catch them that night, they were hot. That's great. I got into the habit of they're going to be in town for 2 nights. I'm going to both nights. It was a workout. You knew what you were in for. It was not going to be You by Sunday evening, you were ready for bed at 8 o'clock. So this is the first night, and it's like, I don't know how this can get any better. And they go to see them the next night. It was fantastic too. So, but that was it. To this day, I don't think that there's I've seen great bands. I've seen bands I've always wanted to see. Some amazing music, stuff performed I can't believe I've seen live. That's the best show I've ever seen.
That 100% sounds like an amazing experience. Paul Keene is someone who I've always respected as a musician, and more so have always dug as a friend. Again, it was a no-brainer when I was putting the guest list together that I wanted him on here. Here is Paul's answer to question number 6. Name someone who you have never seen live that you always wish you would have, living or dead. Which may be a shocking answer, coming from the lead singer of Dead Flowers.
I'd love to see the Stones. I can't afford it because it's like $1,000 for like a ticket. But I would love to see the Stones, and I hope they survive past this COVID experience and can tour again. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, they I forget what tour it was, but they were doing like club dates on top of their big stadium shows, and I forget the ridiculousness those tickets went for, but I could not imagine seeing those guys in a small club at this point in time, like
that would be amazing. A small club would be great, but it's probably like $10,000.
Yeah, it's nothing but execs in that audience like that.
Right. Yeah. They're like, who's this band again? Right. I think they're called the Rolling Stones.
For Unappreciated Jawn, I've got 2 clips for you. The first one comes from my brother from another mother, Randy Major, who was the very first guest on the show that kicked everything off. Randy is one of my closest friends and someone who I have been honored to create music with for over 20 years. We may not have gotten to do so in a few, but I desperately want to change that. The second one comes from Kevin Mooney. Kevin and I went to high school together, and no matter the outfit he is providing the low end for, I have always been in awe of his talents on the bass. Both of these answers were something that I definitely agree are underappreciated, and I wanted to do everything I can to show my own appreciation of them. So here they are.
This is going to be a lot. Okay. But do you remember? All right.
Probably.
When Pharrell put down In My Mind, and then Quest and them got together, and they added the live performances to it, and they called it Pharrell Williams and the Yes Sirs, and it was Out of My Mind, and never released the album, and you can't find a good version of the album with lossless quality sound. That is the most unappreciated collection of music of all time. Like, it's probably one of my favorite albums of all time, and it never even was released.
I swear to God, I'm blown away. Last week, I literally spent 3 hours trying to find a very clean copy of that. That is so fucking weird. That is so weird. But it makes sense. I mean, our menstrual cycles are in tune. Number 7, name an unappreciated Jawn, something you wish got more love.
Oh my God, that's wow. What is underappreciated? This sucks. This is like total record store question. Like you go to the fucking record store, you're like, I don't know what I fucking want, and you just, you know what I mean? You just aimlessly look around, and I'm gonna be like in the shower later and be like, fuck, there's this, there's this, there's this, there's this. What is underappreciated right now? Well, that's easy. Underappreciated right now is kindness. I mean,
I love it.
It's just unbelievable how cool it is to be an asshole right now. And I mean, there's something to be said for being, a funny asshole and just being whatever. Sure. But it nowadays, and the what and why is irrelevant, but we've definitely allowed ourselves to really be cool with being a piece of shit, and that sucks. So
I 100% agree. Like, I've been telling people that's kind of why I started, like, this became like this project, like, kind of grew out of me just wanting to start a website where I just talked about shit I liked. That's all I wanted. But now, like, being able to talk to other people and just hear, like, I just want to hear, like, good, like, fucking just these are things I like, not something I hate, not something
Right.
like something
Yeah.
like, and it's great to just hear people like kind of gush about, the things they like instead of fucking just shitting on everything, like.
Well, that's the thing. It's so easy to do, it's psychologically, it's so easy to stand on the other side of something and say, well, I'm against that. There's not a lot of risk there. And the risk is actually being for something. And that's what people struggle with doing, I think,
Yeah, fucking A. Well said. I'm going to be honest, I'm still pretty shocked that I had Ben Arnold on my show. I've admired this dude since forever, and that I got to have him on my show and pick his brain was incredible. This is Ben's answer to question number 8, what is your favorite album? It's an album that's so absolutely important to me that to hear how much he enjoys it as well was pretty special.
Okay, what was the question? Oh, favorite
album, yeah.
I mean, it's so hard. So I'm just gonna, I could say that. I could do that. I could say Jeff Buckley's Grace and say,
goddamn, yeah,
and say, it takes me immediately to 1994, driving around and up and down the East Coast playing gigs, and I ended up, just driving around playing gigs, and me and my buddy Christopher Colucci. It was me and a guitar player, me and this guy Christopher Colucci. That's how I got my first record deal. We were just going up and down the East Coast playing we were playing my music, which was kind of like sort of, college-y, alternative-y, kind of sensitive songwriter, but with an edge kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the fuck it was. It got me a deal. We would play Jeff Buckley's Grace, and Nevermind, and The Counting Crows, August and everything after. We would play them incessantly on rotation, occasionally being interrupted by like Joni Mitchell Blue or something, to break up the monotony. But man, I mean, so I'm going to go with that. It's tough because I like so many. I mean, is it Steely Dan? Is it Asia? I don't know. Is it the White Album? I don't know. That's a tough one. I refuse to be narrowed down to one record.
Okay. All right. That's cool. I'll take it. Number 9. Question number 9 is name an artist whose output you will consume anything they have released. And it's been a favorite of my questions because I love learning who and what people obsess over. It's my favorites. I like liking things and I like learning what other people like. This one that I want to share is from my episode with Dan Reed. I saw a meme once that said something along the lines of the closest you can ever get to know what it's like to be a ghost is listening to a podcast where the hosts are trying to remember a piece of trivia that you know. It's so true. Well, as someone who's listened to Dan Reed on both the radio and his podcast for years now, this episode was like a ghost finally getting to make contact with the living. Number 9, name an artist whose output you will consume anything they release, even if you have to be an apologist for it.
Wow, that's a good one too. A current artist or
anyone?
Could be any artist.
Yeah, anybody you wanted to be.
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Yeah. No, I'll take it. Now, does that include Tall Bachman? Bachman's.
Oh, I like Tal Bachman. What was the name of that song? That hit
She's So High.
She's So High. That was a good song.
That was a goddamn good song.
That was a goddamn good song. I agree with you on that one.
The way this whole That's My Jawn thing started was just me being unapologetic about pop music that I like.
Yeah.
And that's what birthed the website before it became this whole thing. But Tall Bachman, She's So High.
I'd have to think about that. That's a really good question. I'd have to think about that a little bit. I've always been an apologist for Seeger. He hasn't made, he's made great records, but sometimes he hasn't. Sonic Youth too. I can always find something on their records that I like, even though I think they've been up and down too. So.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm blessed that I get to have all these conversations with people I respect. So for the 10th and final question of the Top 10 Countdown, let's hear from everyone and revisit what their favorite Jawns of all time are.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say, do you remember driving IUP and jamming out to Outkast, Stankonia, not Stankonia, but The Love Below, and Speaker Box, and thinking about what the A&Rs would be saying to each other as they listen to this album? It's like the follow-up to the big pop hits and all the stuff they had, and then he's singing about robots and Dracula's wedding, and you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like that, the experience of listening to that album, knowing that nobody wanted it and it worked anyway, that's my Jawn.
Yes.
That's my Jawn.
That is.
I'm gonna say "Honky Tonk Women" by the Stones.
Nice.
That, you know, like Southern rock / British / I mean, Stonesy.
Yeah.
You know, it's dirty, it's country, it's rock, it's everything.
It's a great song.
My favorite thing to do, and I say this because I hardly do it now, but I think my favorite thing to do is to sing. So all the projects that I'm in right now, I'll sing a tiny bit, I'll sing background vocals, I'll do that kind of thing. But singing has always been the thing that has always put me through most anything. I used to get night terrors as a child. I used to stay up late at night or not sleep at all and do all kinds of things like this. And the thing that my mom always did, she always had me sing with her. So you sing to drive away the dark, you sing to not be afraid. So yeah, my favorite Jawn of all time would be singing.
Beautiful answer. I love it. Well, what is your favorite Jawn of all time? Can be anything.
I guess just, I mean, it's really, you can take the easy way out and just say love, because it's like, it's almost like Jawn in a sense, you know what I mean? Because you think about all the things that you love. Like, I love going to the Cape, and I love playing, and I love my kids, and I love my family, and I love my, you know what I mean, and all these things. So that feeling that you get, you know, of love for people, for doing, for playing, for, you know, whatever, you know, that allows me to include a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know.
Christmas.
Oh yeah, big Christmas guy. Yeah,
absolutely. Yep, that's my favorite of all time.
I have in the past few years gotten back into Christmas.
No,
but mostly Christmas music. Because I used to work in a mall, all right? So, like, I got burned out on Christmas music for a very long time. And it's only been, as of late, seriously, that I've started to, like, really enjoy and appreciate Christmas music. And I find that Christmas music sounds the best on a ukulele. I play a lot of ukulele music, yes.
Really?
And,
okay. Do you play the ukulele yourself?
I do, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I Christmas is an all-time Jawn. Like
my life.
Yeah.
Does my life count as an answer?
100%.
I love my life. It's a great life. You know, all the roads that you take, you know, that take you to where you are, like right now. You know, there's been, you know, ups and downs and all that stuff. You know, it's cliche. But I love my life. So that's I'll give you an answer after I say that, because, you know, life is good. But I've been watching Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
Man, favorite Jawn of all time. I mentioned Batman already, so I might have to go with Glenn Danzig, my dude. Most talented guy to come out of the punk scene. He's a guy that had a #1 classical album, guy that had 3 great bands in a row, guy that's been doing what he's doing continually for over 40 years now. He's written for 2 Hall of Fame artists, Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison. He's been covered by 2 Hall of Fame artists, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Glenn Danzig, man. Everything that dude does, yeah, he's another dude that lifetime subscription for.
Top 10 countdown. What is your favorite Jawn of all time? Could be anything.
Pan-fried dumplings at Sankey.
Oh my God, that's perfect. I love it.
That's probably one of my favorite Johns of all time.
I love it. I love it. And final of the top 10 countdown, what is your favorite Jawn of all time? Again, can be anything you want it to be.
I have to say, at the risk of sounding corny, I have to say my family and my friends are my
Not
favorite.
corny at all. That's not corny at all. That's beautiful.
And this year has made it even more apparent that, we're not complete without them. And I miss seeing everybody, my family and my friends, even here in Philly. I mean, there's a lot of friends I haven't seen for a year, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's been really challenging, and
been tough. Yeah. But it's getting better, man. People are getting vaccinated. It's getting better. But my family and friends is I think you've always got to look at that.
Perfect. One of all time could be anything. Ever, all time.
Well, I don't know if this qualifies as an answer, but laughing.
That absolutely qualifies. I love it.
Because I have realized that if I have something that makes me laugh every day, it tends to be a good day, regardless of any kinds of obstacles or heavy stuff that may happen.
There it is. I've had 10 guests on the top 10 countdown. Many more, hopefully, knock on wood, to come. I hope you continue to join me on this mission. Getting to talk to people on this platform has been a pure joy for me, and I hope it's been one for you as well. If you have not done so already, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast on all your favorite podcast providers and share it. See something, say something, they say. Tell all your friends about it. And all you Hermione Grangers out there who want to earn themselves a super awesome Jawn Scout Merit Badge for Citizenship of the World and put some points on the board for Team Gryffindor, you can always do so by rating and reviewing us. Put 5 on it. Stars, yo! Don't forget to visit www.yothat'smyjawn.com and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/yothat'smyjawn for updates and live streams. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at yothat'smyjawn and find Yo That's My Jawn on YouTube for all kinds of video shenanigans, including, as I said earlier, G-Love and Chuck Treece performing She's a Rock live. Like and subscribe the heck out of that ish. We want to hear from you. Reach out, and touch some Jawn. I hope you enjoyed this episode and you forgive me for being late as fuck. I'm not going to say I'll never do it again because, well, we all know that's a lie, but I will do my best to be better. Blue skies. Until next time, everybody.
Hey yo, displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. Your taste in music doesn't have to be measured.
Yo, That's My Jawn is a Lonely Monk production written and produced by yours truly, Nate Runkle. Theme song by Phil Tyler Music featuring Nate 3.0. Special thanks to Fox Run Brands, DX Ferris, Andrew Scott, Natalie Runkle, and the incredibly brilliant and wickedly stunning Katie Daubney. If you or anyone you know has any ideas they would like to share or any guests they would like to hear on the podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at yothat'smyjawn@gmail.com. Or you can leave an audio message for us and possibly hear yourself on a future episode by visiting anchor.fm/ytmj/message. Until next time, be sure to displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure and shout to the world, yo, that's my Jawn.